Been waiting all day for this. The Spider-Man or No Way Home trailer. There's been rumors on top of rumors about this. I haven't watched it yet. Mm, see how it's looking. The hype around this movie is just going to be just surreal. All right.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe. Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Fucking Disney.
Actual name.
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
All this is kind of your mess. I know a couple magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap. You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe. You're not gonna take this away from me. Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone. What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider Monday.
Okay. We go watch that again. Actually, wait. Before I watch that again. I've had a fear about this movie ever since it got announced that they were going to be dipping into the multiverse. Tobey Maguire is everyone's first Spider-Man. He's like what Michael Keaton was to Batman. He brought it to the big screen. People absolutely loved him. Um, the third one was just it was bad. The years have been sort of kind to it, to where I can look back at it now and at least enjoy it as like a popcorn movie. But it was not a very good ending to the first two movies of the Raimi trilogy. I thoroughly enjoyed The Amazing Spider Man with Andrew Garfield. I thought that was a different take on it. Um, Having a Spider Man with no Mary Jane and doing the Gwen Stacy thing, and everyone wants to try different villains. So Spider Man's got a huge rogues gallery. They went with the lizard instead. It's very good. Nice choice. The Amazing Spider Man 2, even though it has my absolute favorite Spider Man scene in it, was not a good movie. And the scene I'm talking about is the very end where Peter shows up and has the manhole fight with the Rhino. There's just something that's just so Spider-Man-y about that. It's just fantastic. Tom Holland shows up in Civil War, and he plays a big part in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I am not a fan of because for the longest time there was a few things in the comic world that rang true, and that was nobody stays dead unless it's Bruce Wayne's parents or Uncle Ben. There's only so many times you can see Thomas and Martha Wayne get shot or Uncle Ben die before it's just like, okay, nails on a chalkboard. Let's wrap it up. Let's move it on. But in the case of what they did to Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, is they basically completely omitted Uncle Ben and made him Iron Boy. They made him just completely enamored with Tony Stark, and it was like hero worship. And I felt that's just a very, very bad thing because Spider Man is the biggest character that Marvel has. There's no arguing that he is. Actually, I believe I've read somewhere that as far as overall products annually, Spider Man the character outsells Batman and Superman combined. I'd have to fact check that again, but I do remember reading that at some point. He's definitely the face of Marvel. He's not the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe due to the contract disputes, the fact that Sony bought the character in the 90s for film distribution rights. And Marvel did not have their biggest characters when they started this Marvel Cinematic Universe. They didn't have the X Men, they didn't have Spider Man, the Fantastic Four. So, what they did is they took a bunch of B and C level characters, like the Avengers, and turned them into A level characters. Using the natural charisma of Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, they built an empire, and it was awesome for 10 years. Adding in Spider Man was good, but it was also kind of a slap in the face of Spider Man because they made Peter Parker dependent on Tony Stark. In both movies so far of Peter's solo outings, he has screwed up like all the cool spots that you see in the trailers. In Spider Man Homecoming, the spot in the trailer where you see the Washington Monument get bombed, the trailer is edited to where you think the Vulture done it. Good editing job, but then when you watch the movie, it's well, Peter did that. Same thing with the Staten Island Ferry is that the Vulture in the trailer, it's edited to look like he does it as a terrorist act, as opposed to what happens in the movie where, again, Peter is at fault. And they do the whole thing where he's swinging through the ship, webbing it up, and he's doing the pose, just holding everything together like Toby did with the train. And even in the trailer, they kind of, again, they undermined Spider-Man by having Iron Man show up to save the world or save the day there with whatever magical MacGuffin that he's got for this day of the week. My fear for No Way Home is once I seen that Jamie Foxx had signed on and Alfred Molina had signed on, that they were doing the multiverse thing. All right, that's awesome. That throws rumors on top of rumors that Toby and Andrew are going to reprise their roles. And if that happens, this movie is likely to decimate Avengers Endgame as far as views and ticket sales and all that stuff. Because in reality, Avengers Endgame is just not that good. Infinity War was the pinnacle of the Infinity Saga, and Endgame was just bloated garbage. But since it got announced, I've had a fear of this movie because of Tony Stark's influence. Tony Stark's influence has been just far too prevalent in Peter's world. The Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming was created because Tony Stark had his cleanup crew come in and basically take Adrian Toome's job. So he turned to a life of crime. So there you have villain number one in Spider-Man's solo movie has been made because of Tony Stark. Okay, fine. Avengers Endgame happens, and some people cry at the end, and whatever. Then you have Spider-Man Far From Home. Um, some people that are not real versed in the characters that I spoke with back when it came out actually thought that Mysterio was showing up and was actually going to help Peter fight the elementals. To any Spider-Man fan, we know that's just bullshit. We know the real deal. So the villain in Far From Home turns out to be yet another villain created by Tony Stark. In this case, he worked for Stark Enterprises and got fired for his augmented reality stuff that was used in Civil War. But obviously, Jake Gyllenhaal was not in Civil War, so they retconned it, show him in the background. But again, that's now two villains in two Spider-Man movies that have been made by Tony Stark. So we're going to run down the list here of the villains that we have seen here in No Way Home. Obviously, Doc Ock was the first one that we've seen. And Otto Octavius, which, by the way, screw these kids for making fun of his name. Dr. Otto Octavius is a brilliant scientist who was on the process of discovering the power of the sun using tritium. That that was his quest in Spider-Man 2. Started out with good intentions, but then obviously when the neurotransmitter thing and inhibitor in the arms got shattered, the arms took over and all hell broke loose. But point is, Otto Octavius, brilliant scientist, can come up with his own stuff. Norman Osborn, billionaire, genius, scientist, develops military weaponry, um, develops the Goblin formula that, super strength, enhanced reflexes, and all that. Brilliant scientist. I seen the lizard in this trailer, which was not confirmed in the first one. That was a few surprises. Like, we only knew that Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx were coming back. Speaking of Jamie Foxx, his Electro, not real smart as far as science goes, but he's a techie working for Oscorp in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and highly forgettable. Hopefully, Jamie Foxx can do a better job this go around. But we'll put him to the side, and we're going to jump to the lizard, who, again, brilliant scientist. This is a pattern here with three villains so far: Otto, Norman, the lizard, all very brilliant. Seen the Sandman in there. Sandman's just a petty street criminal, so that's five of the Sinister Six. Did they show another one? I don't think they did. The sixth one showing up is a big giant rumor right now, especially with the way the trailer ends with Strange saying he can't stop them from all coming through. And I have this fear that all these very intelligent villains from Spider-Man's rogues galleries now in Peter Parker's universe, in the Marvel Cinematic Peter Parker's universe, where Uncle Ben didn't mean enough to him to even care about or speak about in, what's it been, 5 movies thus far. The biggest thing we've got about it was an Easter egg on the suitcase with BFP. Peter's idolizing Tony Stark. Tony Stark, who in every single stinking movie has his MacGuffin, no matter what it is, no matter what the problem is. In the next movie or in the third act of that movie, he has some kind of thing, some a device for it. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that in Endgame he didn't just immediately just whip out, oh, a Thanos killing belt. In that respect, the Marvel Universe's Tony Stark is a lot like current comic Batman, that no matter what the situation calls for, he has something for it every single time. That's where you get into that whole, with prep time, Batman can beat anybody bullshit that people cry about. What I'm scared is going to happen in this movie, and I've spoke to my nerd friends about this the last 6 months, is that all of these scientists from other dimensions who had their own plans, their own ideas, their own creations, now that they're in the Disney world and we have to show that Disney is better than Sony. This is going to happen again when they introduce the X-Men. The X-Men are going to be downplayed as if they wouldn't completely body bag the Avengers. The X-Men are going to be treated as probably a B to C level team because Fox had it for so long. And there's no way Disney is going to let another group come in and be considered as big as the Avengers. That's going to happen. So what they're going to do, or what I'm scared they're going to do with these villains in Spider-Man No Way Home, is that they're going to have all of them band together and search for something Tony Stark related. In Far From Home, the villain, created by Tony Stark, put his entire plan into motion to get a device built by Tony Stark. It's far too much emphasis on what is, prior to Robert Downey Jr. playing him, was a C to B level character at best. I really don't want, like, I don't want all those villains banding together to fight the Spider-Man or men, if they are in fact in it. I don't want them banding together to get some, I don't know, some kind of arc reactor nonsense, something that Tony did before the events of Endgame happened, and it'd be such a cop out and such a betrayal to the character to have yet once again, another. This movie will make $1 billion on its, just not even trying. But to hang another Spider-Man movie on the coattails of Tony Stark is just stupid. As of right now, it looks like it's going to be great. I'm hopeful that it's going to be great. Um, there were rumors that the end of this trailer was going to show the two Spider-Men joining up with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. If that had happened, it would have broke the internet. And I'm convinced that the reason it wasn't was because of the internal strife between Disney and Sony. Disney, they want to push out whatever they have. You know, they can only see 6 inches in front of their face. They didn't want the Spider-Man trailer released to begin with because they had Shang-Chi coming out and they knew that the Eternals was coming around the bend. Well, Sony does not care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They made $1 billion with Venom, and Venom was not a good movie. The first one, I haven't seen Let There Be Carnage yet. Fun movie, not really a good movie. So they don't care about Disney's Marvel Universe. They made $1 billion with Venom. They got one of the best reviewed Spider-Man movies Into the Spider-Verse thing. So they want to get word of mouth out. They want to get people talking about it. And what better way to do that than to put out the trailer for it? They put out their trailer for it right in the middle of the marketing for Shang-Chi. And almost overnight, people gave less than a crap about seeing Shang-Chi anymore. It was like, oh my God, have you seen the new Spider-Man trailer? Doc Ock was on everybody's mind. I don't see this ending well. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong. But there was some stuff. There was some drama going on recently where it was rumored that the holdup on the trailer release was once again because of the two warring companies, in that Sony wanted to show the two Spider-Men, and Disney was like, no. And again, Sony does not care about the Disney universe. Sony wants to get word of mouth out there. They want to get people hyped up to see this. What better way to do that than, to have Tom Holland's Peter Parker just having just the absolute crap kicked out of him, and all of a sudden familiar spider webbing comes in, pulls him to safety, and then the trailer ends. That would get everybody hyped. And that's probably what Sony wanted, and Disney was like, no, that'll give away way too much. Just huge spoilers. And no, just absolutely not. And Sony's like, well, we want to. So it's constant warring back and forth, and we had to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And now we are here today, the 16th. So we're legit just a month out from the trailer or from the movie, and we just now got the second trailer. And just got to watch it again now. Now that I've had my piece, I'll pause and at points and continue to run my mouth about it. I like this shot.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
That was a nice little touch back to the black suits fighting with Sandman and Spider-Man 3 happening in the subway. Again, this right here. Once again, this is showing that, continuing the trend, every movie that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is in, whatever the conflict is, he initiates doing something stupid. In this case, it was interrupting that spell. Pumpkin Bomb and Willem Dafoe is awesome. So there's Electro. Of course, Doc Ock. Awesome moment. This I don't like. This was a shot released in Empire magazine. It shows, now they may do it better in the movie. It may have just been a weird photo op that they got on there, but to show Spider-Man not swinging away from a fight, not trying to gain better ground, but outright running from a fight. It was the picture that they used. They showed a picture of Tom Holland just like hauling ass away like he was scared. And it doesn't matter if Spider-Man's scared. The whole point of Spider-Man is that he's always scared, but he's never going to run away from a fight, especially in a place like this where there's obviously going to be a lot of people here on the George Washington Bridge.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back.
So it's Electro back there.
All this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap. You're flying out into the dark
Jameson.
to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man.
So I'm guessing by doing this, Strange is saying that to make things right, this Peter has to kill them because that's their fate, is to die fighting Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe. You know,
So is he assimilating the Iron Spider suit? You guys seen that, right? You've seen the tentacles taking on the Iron Man color.
take this away from me.
Electro looks better.
You're struggling to have everything you want, while the world tries to make you choose.
Lizard.
It's all my fault. I can't save everyone. What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider Monday.